Various elected officials, activists, and nonprofits have been urging the governor through protests and letters to hold up her end of the bargain to restore felons' voting rights before the November election. But with only 93 days to go, they are worried the opportunity will come too little too late. Iowa remains the only state that permanently bans felons from voting unless they appeal to the governor. 48 days ago, Governor Kim Reynolds committed to signing an executive order to restore voting rights for nearly 60,000 Iowans.
I will do an executive order, and it will be done in a timely manner.
This is one of the things that she talks about it, and it sounds good, but I'm yet to see it.
And activists say,
"Hey, Kim! Use your pen!"
The clock is ticking.
And we're talking about bringing in a bunch of people back into the process that maybe haven't been able to vote for, a decade, a couple decades. So some of these people have been far removed from the voting process and just how elections work in general. So, I think a lot of education and resources are going to be needed to be made available for these folks.
Des Moines Black Lives Matter has held multiple rallies trying to hold Reynolds accountable for her promise, and they are not alone. On June 30th, more than 100 faith leaders delivered a letter asking her to do the same, and even the Iowa State Association of County Auditors is adding to the pressure, sending their own letter back on July 13th.
We need this to be done in a timely manner. One, we have to make changes to our websites, and currently we are already in the election cycle.
Roxana Moritz is a Scott County Auditor and president of the Iowa State Association of County Auditors. Like most, she is calling for a clean restoration of voting rights. Republicans have called for requiring felons to pay their full restitution, but Moritz says this would require county auditors to do a job they are not qualified to do.
You're putting one more burden on our office and yet another burden to the felon who has already done their time. So no different than filling out an application and having to have your rights restored. You're asking them, as we're trying to re-enter society and the understanding of where they are in life, having to figure out what their restitution is, how they pay that, how do they keep records, and then us as auditors, how are we going to track that?
A sentiment echoed by the Brennan Center of Justice.
County election officials are not criminal justice professionals. They are not expected to be able to parse one kind of conviction versus another, to look at the criminal statutes and know what is disqualifying and what is not disqualifying. And they are not expected to know whether certain payments have been paid back to individuals or to be able to track the status of those payments.
If the governor signs the executive order, county auditors are responsible in contacting those new voters, alerting them that they are now eligible to vote, a process that does not happen overnight.
That happens, that late in the game. I would say it would be cumbersome on my part, but my obligation to identify every single individual and make sure that I'm contacting them to let them know that their rights have been restored and what their timelines are and their opportunities are.
Currently, 1 in 50 Iowans are ineligible to vote, disproportionately affecting 10% of all Black Iowans. A statistic the Brennan Center of Justice says links the criminal justice system and the right to vote.
We are sending a mixed message when we say we welcome you back with open arms, but actually we don't want you to participate in our democracy. If we truly want to have full reintegration and assist in that reintegration, we need to welcome people back into the democratic process as well.
Although Reynolds has pushed for a constitutional amendment in previous legislative sessions, Republicans have shut it down. But advocates are saying she can do both, sign an executive order while working to amend the Constitution.
Both are necessary, the executive order and the constitutional amendment, to make sure that the damage done by the criminal justice system within the next couple of years can be minimized.
22 days ago, with the help of State Representative Roz Smith, Black Lives Matter delivered their own executive order to the governor, but has not heard back from her office.
60,000 need to vote.
The governor's office did not respond to multiple requests asking about the status of that executive order that Reynolds said she would be drafting with her team.